Just like you need it. There.
I want to get back to the front page. Clearwater Public Art and Design Board is called to order. Approval of minutes. So make a motion to approve the minutes from the June 8th, 2023 Public Art and Design Board meeting. Is there a motion?
My motion to approve.
Anyone second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved to approve the minutes from the June 8th, 2023 Public Art and Design Board meeting. So number 3 is citizens to be heard regarding items not on the agenda. Beth is not here. She said she'd be here. Should we wait? No?
Go back to where.
Okay, so number 4, new business items. Let's welcome our new board members.
I'm Lisa Bills.
I'm Brian Politan.
You guys want to say a little bit about yourselves?
Yeah.
I'll go ahead. I have been here for 3.5 years. I'm a local homeschool co-op teacher. I teach art to little kids. And I have a background in industrial design, retail, point of purchase design, accessories design. I had a 10+ year career in New York City. I went to Rhode Island School of Design as well. And most recently, I've used my artistic activity in the yard. I got really into permaculture, design of food forestry, and sustainable landscaping. And so I've dabbled in that quite a bit. And I look forward to bringing my background to this advisory board.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Fantastic. Again, I'm Brian Politan. Here we go. I am an artist here in town. I've been here most of my life. I know this beautiful young lady to my right here as well, with her daughter. I run a nonprofit in Clearwater called Greenwood Grove. We'll be doing a lot of stuff to help men out with regard to self-improvement and self-development. So I'm looking forward to those things. I sit on various other boards in Dunedin, mostly related around the arts. I recently enrolled in this school, so I'm pretty excited about that after about almost 30 years of being out of school. What else is here? I'm really excited to see what goes on in this board. So thank you for nominating me to be on this board. Ready to get started. Thank you.
Well, welcome. Thanks for being part of this. Should we introduce ourselves so they know who we are? Greg, do you want to introduce yourself?
I think I'm the only writer on the board. My name's Greg Bird. I've taught here at SBC for 32 years now. I'm a poet, and I've also started writing long-form novels and then also short stories. I think I've been on the board for 2 years now. And that's all I have to say.
Hi, I'm Charlene Harrison. I am a grants and business manager with Creative Pinellas. I've been on the board this year, just started this year.
I'm Jonathan Barnes. I'm a faculty member in the visual arts department here at St. Pete College. I've been here, I think, 17 years now, and I've been on the board for, 4 years maybe. I'm also a member of Clearwater Art and Design, or Clearwater, Art and Design Board as well, Clearwater Arts Alliance. I get the two confused because the name is similar. Clearwater Arts Alliance, and we're responsible for like the signal box wraps that you've seen throughout the city of Clearwater. So there's an unveiling of one tonight. So in my neighborhood, coincidentally, which is kind of exciting. So anyways, thank you for being here. Thank you. So let's see. Item 4.2, review and approve design proposals for the Coachman Park walls.
Good afternoon, everybody. Amber Bryce, Arts and Cultural Affairs Coordinator for the City of Clearwater. We have a lot of items to vote on today because it's our last meeting of the year. I didn't know what our AV system would be like, so everybody has a packet in front of them, but I'll also be displaying images behind you, which will be shown to the public. So the first few pages of your packet, we're going to look over and hopefully approve the designs for the Coachman Park mural walls. For people that are not familiar, it's the 3 mural walls that are located on the bluff of Coachman Park, close to the library. Both sides will be painted, so there'll be a total of 6 murals. So this is just 2 of them. So the first design is the first image in your packet. It's from a St. Pete artist named Alyssa Dunlap. It'll be painted on the back side of the south wall, which faces into the park. And it'll be a pair of butterfly wings, similar to the murals in Nashville and other cities, where it provides a photo opportunity for the public. In our public survey, which we'll talk about later, this was one of the items that was brought up a couple of times, people asking for this type of photo opportunity. So we think it'll be really popular. Since it's facing the park, hopefully it will draw people up from the park onto the bluff area. And there's an image with a person in it too, so you can kind of see the scale. The next design is from a Miami-based artist named Ernesto Reinhardt. He's done murals all over the world. He was a finalist for the water tank mural. That's when the design concept you're seeing for the water tank, but any of these can be translated onto a mural wall. So you can get an understanding of his style. I would go through the packet and really kind of see what it looks like. Insufficient data for this image. Kind of see what it translates, like he uses images of leaves and flowers and stuff that make up a full image of an animal or an object. So there's many to choose from. I personally like the spoonbill panther image. I think it's a little different. For the osprey, it's very relevant to our area. So seeking approval for the butterfly wings, and then if the board would like to discuss and give an opinion on which mural from Ernesto you would like to see.
I have a question about the butterfly wings, and I was wondering, is this from a local butterfly?
It is, yes. It's one that's native to Florida, which of course I don't have the name right now, but that was part of her design concept, was instead of doing a monarch or the basic one, this one is very native to Florida, so she wanted to do something that was Florida-based.
And just to clarify, we're looking at hers as the one for Coachman, and then we're looking at the other ones as far as the water tank.
They're both for Coachman Park.
Interchangeable?
They're both for mural walls, 2 separate murals, same location, same walls.
I'm more partial to either the tarpon or the osprey, since it's closer to, the intercoastal. When we looked at the water tank ones, it would make sense in that location with the countryside location, for the lilies. The lilies or maybe the panther.
Okay, Mr. Burns likes the osprey. Anyone else want to?
The osprey is very appealing. I'm always out of the parks and on the waterfront and constantly I see them, so that's really relevant.
I like the osprey too, but I am quite partial to the tarpon. That's especially being close to the water. Never caught any tarpon in that particular area, but would this? So this is going to be, that's another wall that's up on the bluff.
Yeah, so it'll be the one closest to the library, the front one. I guess the furthest north one.
Are the other samples, like the native song with the birds and the butterflies, are these just samples to show his work?
Correct.
And we're looking at the other ones for the tank?
Right, so they show you a design concept, what it looked like when they showed it, and then what the finished work looks like. So
Okay.
these are proposals that he sent over and just to give you an idea of what it would look like finished.
And we're voting just by concept, so it's either the.
Now you're voting for both. We want to vote for the butterfly wings, and then
Right.
we want to vote for the other image as well. And just an approval to go ahead and move forward with the murals. We can say the board really likes the osprey, that's what we would like you to go for.
So
But we just want to vote to make it. go
Any
forward.
interest is designs.
Yeah.
I like the osprey. Butterflies.
That makes it pretty unanimous.
Are they printed or are they permanent?
Well,
Everything will be painted.
Yeah.
So they'll be, well, I don't want to say permanent because we're going to try to rotate them every 2 to 3 years,
Yeah.
but permanent for the time being, yes. Did you want to go ahead?
That's just walk by.
Okay, did you want to?
Yeah, okay, let's, I guess, does somebody want to make a motion to vote for the butterfly wings in favor? That's the proper
Yes,
thing.
I'll make a motion for the butterflies. For the
Second it.
second.
Okay, so I guess all in favor of butterfly wings? Aye.
So we're voting for both of these. I just want to make sure I understand, right? So,
Yeah.
I think we should vote for them separately though.
okay,
Yeah.
but so we're voting to approve, to move forward with the butterfly wings?
Yes.
So they're not in opposition of each other? There's not one of you?
No.
Okay, cool. So yes.
So all in favor of butterfly wings?
Aye.
Let's go with butterfly wings. So this motion passes. And then it's between maybe the tarpon and the osprey. Is that what the?
So that's
I think it's just,
the whole rest of the packet
no,
we're looking at, or just the tarpon and the osprey?
just Ernesto.
Right, okay.
Yeah, Greg, the history of this, Greg, is that when we jured the water tank murals that are going on 580, kind of near Countryside Mall, there were a lot of applicants. They were all, it was shocking how good the applicants were. There were about 42 of them, I think. And these were the finalists. The person that we chose is going to be doing that mural, and these were the other, top 3?
Top
Yeah,
3,
top
and
three.
the city paid for their design proposals, so since we've already paid for these artist proposals, we figured it makes sense to also use them in Coachman Park.
Right, I understand.
So if you want to move forward with Ernesto, we can vote on that, and then I can just give a recommendation of Osprey, if that's what everybody would like.
Okay. So would somebody like to make a motion to move forward with Ernesto as painting a mural on the walls at Coachman Park?
I'll make a motion.
I say.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
It's awkward. This Ernesto is approved.
Is it okay?
And you'll hash out which mural, Amber, you'll hash out which mural he'll do.
Yeah, it seems like everybody on the board pretty much likes the Osprey.
Yes.
So I mean, we're missing 2 members, but that's pretty much
Well,
the majority, so.
The question I had though was, how were I was looking at the colors of the tarpon there, so we've got all that blue back there, and the osprey's got some green behind it, and it's a little bit more sort of woody tones and browns and things like that. I'm really wondering which of the colors is going to kind of artistically fit, because we got green for the grass, and there's going to be some other plantings and things. I'm wondering what's going to work in best.
And we can give him feedback and say we'd like maybe more blue tones in the back to really highlight the Osprey. And I can mention that to
Would
them.
he submit a secondary proposal, something more like this, a flat representation?
We can ask them to,
Okay.
and see what they say.
Did they
Artists are
do,
pretty busy.
did they do proposals, in their proposals, were there, how they're going to coat or seal?
So we are going to coat the
People-
walls. Yeah, we're going to wash and prime them.
One thing I do know is in the darker the colors, the more saturated the colors, to answer your question, if they have direct sunlight, they're gonna fade quickly, especially the blues. Yeah, so,
Which is why we're trying to change them out every couple of years to keep them fresh anyway, because that is a concern. They're in direct sunlight all day, 365, so
on both sides of the wall too.
Yes.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, the city has done a better
How does
job
that-
with using Sherwin makes a really nice UV coat. It's expensive, but they did the mural that's on Myrtle and Court,
Yeah.
the Dots mural, the real colorful one. They
Yeah.
coated that one with that Sherwin product, and it's not perfect, but
Yeah.
it's been pretty light fast. But yeah, especially crimsons and stuff. They don't fold at all. Yeah, I think it's a really good
I think also if you hold the papers like this and just look at the two murals together, they have a nice harmony together. So that also, I think, is gonna look really good for the park.
So let's see, item 4.3, the Marado Mosaic update.
So we chose 5 finalists for the Marado Mosaic project. After reviewing their proposals, the CRA has narrowed it down to 3 artists. Unfortunately, the Marado project, has temporarily been put on hold. So the opening date has been pushed back a bit. I'm not sure what the new completion date is. We still want to implement a public voting element into that, either at the grand opening and or at neighborhood association meetings. Hopefully we'll have more updates on this project at our next meeting.
So, discussion, item 4.4, discuss potential city poet laureate program.
So at our last meeting, Board Member Byrd had asked about a poet laureate program for the city and what that would look like. So I'm going to turn it over to him and he can discuss it with you all.
Okay, so yeah, as discussed, there was some interest in following up with this. Some poets that I've known in the city have been asking about, St. Petersburg has a poet laureate, Safety Harbor does, some other cities do. Why don't we? And would that be a good idea? And during the our last meeting, there was some interest in following up with that. So I prepared a little bit here that I'll walk you through kind of quickly. A poet laureate is somebody who, we have city poet laureates, we have state poets laureate, we have, of course, a national poets laureate. And these people are largely volunteer positions, kind of honorary positions. And what they do is bring poetry to the communities, and it varies what they individually do. That's kind of often decided by the poet laureate, him or herself, and also by what the city asks of them. Sometimes it's giving a creative poem for dedication of a building or a public project or something like that. Outside on the wall out here, there's a poem for the dedication of this building a few years ago. And I'll just kind of walk you down a few things. Some commonalities that I've seen among some of the cities in Florida and the city and the state poet laureate is usually a 4-year term. The state poet laureate used to have a lifetime term, but the problem was after a while you get old enough and then people aren't doing anything anymore. Peter Meinke was appointed by Rick Scott to a 4-year term. That 4-year term expired about 4 years ago. We don't have a new poet laureate yet. Safety Harbor has a 2-year term, and the United States, I think, is 2 years as well. So that would be something we would want to decide. Poet laureate is usually chosen by committee and then appointed by the mayor. So there's a committee that's set up of writers, local writers, poets, professors, and other people who are interested. Some of the things they do have done, choose their own outreach programs. Most live in the city that they represent. They may write commemorative poems. Most have a background in some sort of teaching or research or outreach. Vetted by, as we do with artists, vetted by literary and creative writers. Have a history of production of strong and professional work, and they're usually not compensated. But sometimes there are funds that are made available for projects that somebody might want to do. Some other things in addition to that, projects that would fit this. There was a few years ago a sidewalk poetry contest. I forget exactly, Written in Stone or something like that. And high school and middle school students submitted poetry, and then that was chosen by a committee. I was on that committee. And those poems, I forget how they were etched, but whenever there's a new part of sidewalk that is replaced, they'll go and etch those poems in that, so people walking past there will see those things. There was an ALF poetry contest at some point. So there's other kinds of things like that have happened in the past. There's a lot of possibilities for this. It would depend on who the poet laureate is and what the city decides they want to have happen. Selection criteria varies a little bit. There's Safety Harbor did either a self-nomination or a nomination by others. Orlando didn't explain how they got their nominees, but they set up a committee and were connected to the United Arts Council of Central Florida. St. Petersburg, I know I wasn't able to find their criteria online, but I know that they were selected by committee and that some of those people were nominated and some were people that were known and were nominated without them knowing. Trying to restate what, I'll read a couple of these. Descriptions that were available of what duties and purposes are. Gloria Munoz, who's the poet laureate of the city of St. Petersburg, will present official poems at city events and youth activities to inspire emerging creations of literary artists and poets. Tampa's position is called wordsmith, which I think sounds kind of cool. Her name is Gianna Russo. The Tampa wordsmith brings art and artists into the neighborhoods, works with communities through workshops and projects in various neighborhoods, as well as leading citywide participation to projects like the recent Haiku from Home project, which I think was something that was going on during COVID. Orlando says present original poems at city events and youth activities, inspire emerging generations of literary artists and poets. Florida State Poet Laureate promotes reading, writing, and appreciation of poetry throughout the state and encourages students to express themselves through poetry and reading out loud. And then the other information I have here is just listings of different city and state poet laureates and their information. Of course, our position, we could choose to modify or change or do radically different things. I think we could certainly reach out to high schools and elementary schools and middle schools in the area. We could reach out to, I was thinking Arts for Life is just down the street from my house. They're often vibrant, doing all kinds of stuff. There's opportunities to do things downtown to work with St. Pete College. So I think it really depends on, how we would want to set up our criteria, how we want to make our choices, and what we would ask of that person that we choose. Any questions?
I do have a question. For the Tampa position, how long is the term that they are using?
I don't think I saw it listed, but I think it's 4 years.
My initial thoughts are that I can see this in a really contemporary flavor, where almost in the same way a lot of social media works, there's a lot of change and movement and energy with new thoughts coming in. So could there be some sort of rotation where it's even shorter periods and we see fresh faces in a much more quick manner versus the 2 and 4 year kind of position? I'm wondering if there's a contemporary interpretation of this.
Well, I think there's also another possibility with that, in which we would ask that person to bring in people like that
Right,
to do
right.
individual things. What I've seen in similar situations, though, is that it seems to take a while to figure out how things are done and
Okay.
make the connections that you
Yeah.
need. And that somebody, say, coming in their first year and deciding, we're going to do a high school poetry contest, or we're going to do a spoken word thing downtown. I would expect there to be problems with that. Or maybe there's a poetry and Florida orchestra thing, or jazz, or whatever. I would expect the first time it went off, there would be glitches and things might not work quite right. The second time, things would be better.
A learning curve of sorts.
And after a while, it would
Yeah.
be like, okay, I need to talk to this person and this person and this person. You got to watch out for this, and we can't do it in the afternoon in the summer because we get rain on.
Right.
And then that would probably be a good handoff to somebody else. But I think it would be wise, as you said, for whoever has that position to make use of other kinds of poets, because I'm not a spoken word poet. I'm mostly a written poet. I like spoken word, I just don't do it. So I would reach out to, I know, a beat poet. I would reach out to him, or if he had the position, I would hope he would reach out to me. There are some poets who don't teach very much, who might want somebody else, or maybe who don't teach kids so much. So I would think that would be something we would really ask for, is reach out to other literary artists in the area. Pull in some variety so it doesn't always end up being kind of the same.
I don't know how it would be established, but I'd like to see compensation included for this, because that's a lot of work. That sounds very time consuming. I'm in favor of this, but I want to make sure that the person is somehow compensated for, a project deliverable or a stipend or something like that. Because we would pay, the artists when they do their drafts for, their proposals, they get X amount of money. This project is this amount of money. This person should be, properly compensated for their time and effort in the creative process. So what you're describing sounds amazing, but it also sounds like a lot of work.
And that also depends on how much we're going to ask of that person. So
Right.
they might do, are they going to do one project a year and
absolutely. And
and
also,
a couple poems or something like that?
Yeah.
Or are we going to really be expecting them to do
and like
more?
with the sidewalk project, I don't know where any of those pieces are, but if they were within the parameters of where Clearwater Arts Alliance does the art walk through downtown, it might be nice to include some of those on the art walk as well.
We have one in our neighborhood in the North Greenwood area,
Okay.
sidewalk.
So who does the planning with
It's right
the
across the
laureate?
street from the,
Who do they work with
Okay.
directly for this project?
I would think it would be the
Which probably would be, if it was a position that we wanted to have established in the city, and we wanted to establish compensation, this was something that we have to be voted on by city council, we have to figure out an amount, we have to figure out, like you're talking about, all requirements, things like that, term. And then they probably work closely with me, and then we'd have maybe events that they're supposed to speak at, or they are supposed to make a poem for a piece of art, or things like that. Well, the parameters of that obviously would have to be worked out, but
So if they're doing projects, then how would that be funded? It wouldn't be funded by the laureate, would it? You would provide funding for them to do the different projects.
essentially it would be the city, if it was a city position, but this could be housed under a nonprofit as well if we wanted to do it that way, and then,
They could collaborate with
Right, and
a
then we could-
nonprofit and then,
which might be, we might have a little more leeway if we did it that way, but I don't know. I don't know, and I don't know how receptive city council would be to this, so this is all kind of just, this is the first step to really discuss if this is something you all want to explore, you want to.
When Clyde Butcher came, when we had the Clyde Butcher presentation at the library, how was that funded?
CRA.
Okay.
So, but the difference, so CRA is a core downtown area only, so
Right.
it wouldn't be anything else out of CRA district.
Right.
So even if they funded it, it would have to take place either downtown or if it was North Greenwood CRA in the North Greenwood area.
So there could be some similar approach to projects, or if we wanted to bring a writer in or something like that, or fund it through an organization like that.
Possibly, yeah, if the CRA was open to that. Yeah.
This doesn't necessarily, like Tampa was doing, this doesn't necessarily have to be only poetry. It could be also storytelling.
Oh, right, absolutely. I like it.
I'm just thinking, if it's an uncompensated position, is there some other draw we could create through the position for somebody to come in? So if it is something that's a bit social media driven, are there poet influencers out there that would be encouraged to contribute to the city in this way, because they would then get to put their work that they've done onto their profiles and promote it as well? Could there be something that, again, that sort of goes back to my contemporary interpretation of it? So maybe there's a way to do it with that as far as compensation goes. Drive traffic to their sites, essentially, to their profiles.
That's kind of mostly what I've seen is more just sort of an honorary thing.
Yeah.
And it sounds like we're also looking at two different versions of the position. You know, sort of an honorary position that may not require significant, more than, one or two major activities a year, and then maybe another position that's asking for more than that. And the cool thing about this, we can make it however we want. Or maybe it's even like that person is given the ability to bring, like you were mentioning before, bring other people in. Say, I want so-and-so to come in and do this, do this project. We've got $500 for you to come in and do this project, and all I have to do is vet you. And
Yeah. It doesn't sound like anybody disagrees with it.
no.
I don't disagree with it. I think it's a good project. I really do. And I think that, trying to formulate it here is kind of difficult, because I see, we have a artist laureate at our organization, and it is an artist that is selected. They receive funding, and their funding is used for the projects that they're doing. So what type of projects are we looking at, and those type of things, and they will need funding. If they're going to get speakers are going to have to be paid, and so on. So I think this is a great idea, and to move forward will be good, but what are we looking at here, and where are we going to be consistent with that funding coming out? We can't guess it. And make sure that that's in place once we get back.
And those projects would be like Larry Jaffe is one of the poets that I'm not sure if he's still in Clearwater or not. He used to live in my neighborhood, but he's a beatnik poet, and he would do things down at Stone Age in Dunedin. He would have people come in and read, and also things that he would do would be different than what somebody else might do. Where do we go from here? Do we approve this, or do we?
I mean, you could vote to do more research to move forward with it. I would probably have to check with my supervisors and see if this is something that the city would be interested in providing compensation for, like stipend or anything like that.
Do we
also
need
ask
more,
Arts Alliance if they'd be interested in.
do we need a more concrete proposal of here are the things we actually want?
Probably, yes. If I'm going to bring it to city management, for sure.
And how do we do that?
I mean, you can email me what you have laid out here.
Motion for Amber to do more work.
Can
Can we do that? We make a motion for you to pursue the document.
I'm gonna be honest, I'm at capacity right now,
Yeah,
so
I
asking you to
understand.
take this on
A lot
and do
of
all the
this-
research, it's not gonna be feasible this year.
Are we allowed to talk?
You're not allowed to talk to each other outside of this meeting, but you could send me emails about what, criteria that you would like for this position, and we can kind of put it together
Okay.
that way. You want to move forward with that? And this is probably at least a year out, maybe.
Right.
It's not going to happen overnight.
Sure. So I guess.
Samantha would like to say something.
Hi, Samantha Moulet. I'm the City of Clearwater's neighborhood manager. I'm Amber's supervisor. But what I would suggest is that today you just move forward with the recommendation of Amber to begin to research into Poet Laureate. At some point, we will pass it through staff and we can move it up the chain, look at what a budget would potentially look like. If you're able to send separately, don't CC each other, separately to Amber for sunshine laws, your recommendations, your thoughts, what you would recommend to include into the position, if there's anything you programming wise that you would like to see with that position. What we'll then probably do is, if staff supports it, if there's capacity, Amber would likely bring back a proposal to you all. So she, not that you all would write it up, but she as a staff person would write up the proposal, bring it back to you all, and then you would make recommendations to move forward and probably at that point to bring it to council for approval. But this is in the budget. We've just finished up our budget for this next fiscal year, so this is likely to be something to be considered for the 2025 budget for the year following, which gives us plenty of time to do research and look into what we want to do there.
Yes, somebody like to make a motion for all of us to send information to Amber and Amber to start doing some research and ultimately pursue having a poet laureate, the possibilities of having a poet laureate for the city of Clearwater.
I so move. Rather than repeating everything.
Would somebody like to second it?
I'll second it.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. We'll give you some more work.
Thank you.
All right.
You don't know what you're
Let's see, item 4.5, approve the Coachman Park overlook wall mural.
So if you all look at the next couple pages in your packet, it starts with the dolphin. This is for the Coachman Park overlook walls, which is this wall here. I know I don't see your packet, but it's behind you right there. So the artist Sunny Behan, also known as Sunny Sundancer, is a world-renowned muralist known for large-scale, hyper-realistic murals. His focus is mainly wildlife conservation. He's completed works for the UN headquarters in New York, the World Wildlife Fund, and UNICEF. He hails from the UK, grew up in South Africa, but currently lives in Pembroke Pines, Florida. He was another artist for the water tank, the finalist for the water tank mural. The two design concepts we're asking you to look at are the dolphins versus the sea turtles. Some might say dolphins are a little overdone in the city. We have dolphins everywhere. We can ask him to maybe incorporate different colors, more coral like there is in the sea turtle design. So we'll scroll down this. And then I really don't think that these photos do his work justice. I have some printouts of his password if you want to see that. It's different. Some down. So he has some examples with the typography of Clearwater. I'm not sure if we want to do that on the overlook wall. What's really cool about this design is if you can see where the mural wall is, it ends where the fountains end. So it almost looks like the dolphins or the turtles are swimming out of where the fountain is on the steps. So we are seeking approval for artists to design so that he can start painting in October. The book ended with projects, so that's kind of the only month he has available if we want to move forward with this design and this artist.
So the choice is the dolphins or the turtles?
Yes. Okay.
Is there anything coming up on the beach? Where
There-
the turtles might be?
They're redoing the docks, that dock area, the marina. I'm not sure if it's gonna be a mural or if we're gonna have a sculpture or what is gonna be there. The fire station on the beach is getting a sculpture, but it's not gonna be wildlife related.
And Amber, did you say that an option was to use the typography of Clearwater behind the dolphins?
We could ask him to do that. That was more for the water tank, so when you were
Okay.
driving through countryside, you could see Clearwater. I don't know if it necessarily fits in Coachman.
Okay. Right, okay.
I kind of prefer the dolphins, even though in a way it's overdone, but also for thinking about visitors, it becomes more of a motif. And it's also possible in Coachman to look out into the sound and to see dolphins out there, but you're not going to see them. Well, I've seen one or two turtles. So much.
I agree wholeheartedly. I got to take a boat tour around that area and the water there, and we saw plenty of dolphins. And so I think that's a really memorable experience for people coming and visiting the area. So I think that would be very special.
And across the water there is the Coachman Science Center.
Right.
I love the dolphins. I just love dolphins. However, there's also a Save the Turtle theme seems like it's going on too. So I'm at a crossroads, but my preference is the dolphins.
I love the dolphins too. However, right now I'm kind of partial to the sea turtles. My only caveat would be the quantity of turtles and maybe lessening the amount of turtles or making a suggestion that I have so many. That way you can just focus on like the personalities of each one of them and it just don't seem like a cut and paste type of a thing. And it might just be the photo. But
And that, the turtle one you're looking at
Yeah.
was for the water tank. So the dolphin one was also a water tank one, but when I asked him to create a mock-up for the wall, he minimized the amount of dolphins. So I'm assuming it would do the same for the
yeah, it's
turtles. This is a 100-foot
okay.
wall.
Yeah, the
but-
proportions.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I mean, just graphically, the dolphins look cooler, but I think there could be something interesting with the turtles just based on how it's designed and laid out from a hierarchy and aesthetic process. I like the turtles.
I think it'll be either way.
Yeah, you confused me on it.
Well, I really like the coral in the turtles, so we could
Yeah.
have him incorporate the coral part into the dolphin design as well. if you want.
Yeah, that's something that occurs to me and throughout his artwork. He's got some other elements in his artwork, and then the dolphins, it doesn't have as much of that. His work is absolutely stunning. So I think it's going to turn out amazing.
So you would like us to vote for
I-
turtles or dolphins?
Yeah, and it's your decision.
I wish you'd given us a mock-up of the turtles on the wall.
Yeah, that'd be nice to see too.
Because that wall's shorter.
It is,
Wall-
it's
wall-
shorter.
so-
30 feet. I mean, I really like this composition a lot. It's nice,
Yeah.
real strong back and all, and you get that from the former proposal for the 100-foot wall. So I guess, just want to vote turtles or dolphins.
Sounds like a good plan.
Maybe. I don't know what the proper rule is for that, I guess.
Should we just want approval for artist and whatever design you all choose? That's all.
Yeah, I guess.
So we approve the
Let's
artist.
just, yeah, we approve it.
Right, so would someone like, would make a motion to approve the artist?
And we can send like a suggestion along with which one we're leaning towards. We need to decide.
Yeah.
Because it's October, I feel like we need to
Yeah.
decide. I need to write up a contract very soon for him.
So I'll make a motion to approve the artist for sure.
Someone second?
I second.
All right, all in favor to approve this artist?
Hi.
Aye.
All right,
And the second one is to approve the, which,
which one?
It seems like you all are pretty much unanimous with dolphins, except for maybe Mr. Laton.
I
I'm
can go with
team
this.
turtle, so I guess you
And I can,
just vote for show of hand for turtles.
Yeah.
And then show of hand for dolphins.
Yeah, if you could add that in with the dolphins, I think it's pretty.
I'm sure he
the
can.
more
I
color, you know.
convey that to him, that's what we'd like.
Yeah.
Because it is a very big wall,
Mhm.
so we want there, it's
It's
not just be
big.
empty,
Yeah.
space.
Make a motion to approve the dolphins.
One second.
All in favor to approve dolphins?
Aye.
Aye. Sorry. The dolphins are approved. Do we need to make another motion to include coral?
No.
Okay.
Just for clarification. did
Just
you
one
vote-
opposed.
You opposed. Thank you.
It's nice to see turtles come back.
It could be
Maybe
a
I'll
turtle.
we can ask him to do dolphins and turtles together.
All right.
Hybrid turtle.
We can write it.
Turtles and dolphins together.
Hybrid turtle dolphin.
Okay, item 4.6, approve the design concept for the water tank mural located on Florida 580 in Countryside.
Okay, we're running out of time, so I'm gonna try to be quick. So the last two designs in your packet are for the water tank mural, which is located on 580. The city did an open call for artists that ran from April 21st to June 16th. A panel made up of Clearwater Arts Alliance member Mr. Barnes on the Public Art and Design Board, as well as Public Utilities, myself chose 4 finalists. Once we received the proposals back, Christian Stanley and his design, which is called Tailing, was the favorite. It really goes with the theme of water conservation, which is what the Public Utilities team had asked for. The mangroves and the red drum fish are very Florida. Fun fact, in the 90s, this fish was overfished and actually was put on the endangered species list. It's not anymore. So we just think it'll be a wonderful addition to the countryside neighborhood. So we're seeking approval to move forward with artist and this design concept tailing. Installation will not take place until next year. We're waiting to see if we're successful in a national grant application for this project. If we are, then we will have to pick an additional design for the second tank. And then installation wouldn't be until June 2024 per the grant requirements. If we're not successful with the grant, installation will go up a lot sooner, probably like January, February.
As a fisherman in Florida for a long time, I love this. This is awesome. I love how it connects to fish that we've got right there, right off Clearwater. This is fantastic. Love the colors too.
Yeah, I think it'll be nice too to have like a really nice placemaker piece in that area. Yeah, so if the grant is approved, it would be another piece by the same artist.
Correct,
Right.
because it's a one-to-one match. So we're paying for this mural no matter what. If we get the grant, that'll allow us to do a second mural on the second tank.
Any discussion? Somebody like to make a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Redfish approved. I love redfish.
I had a question about some of the art, kind of quickly though.
Yeah.
Does the city hold the rights to the artist?
Yes.
So that the city could actually use on merchandise and things like that? They could have t-shirts and coffee cups and
Every contract is different, so I'm not sure about merchandising, and I'm not sure we've ever done that. So that would probably be something we'd have to add into the contract. But we do have the rights. They sign ownership over to us for this piece, and we're required to maintain it for a certain amount of time.
Just for that project. You don't have rights for merchandising unless it's in the contract, right?
Correct.
that would be, I think that would be a great opportunity if we could
T-shirt.
get the rights to that, because that would push Clearwater as an arts destination. And also, Clearwater as a city, it'd be great PR. I can imagine, tourists coming and, hey, look at this poster I got.
That's a wonderful idea.
I was standing right there.
T-shirts.
So I'll ask our legal team about that and see if that's been done in the past, or maybe I'll reach out to some other arts people in other cities and see what they do. I think if they have something like that in their city. see if that's possible for us to do.
You can write into your contract where they get a percentage of anything else that's sold off of it. So if it is prints or posters or postcards or t-shirts, then there's a percentage that they get for writing over the race.
Okay, item 4.7, review of Coachman Park art public survey results.
So we did an online public art survey for what citizens wanted to see in Coachman Park. The survey was open for 4 months. We had 713 responses, which was really good. So I have some of the results, which data is behind you, but I'll read them off. People could pick more than one answer, so the data is not based on a cumulative 100%, so just keep that in mind. Some of them were top 3, and then one of them, it asked them to rank in order of importance, so they did have to vote on all of the options. So when asked what types of art they wanted to see, 71% of people said natural art or art with plants and nature. 62% said sculpture. 52% said interactive art. 51% said murals, and 50% said temporary or pop-up art. When asked what type of materials they would like to see used for art, 78% said they wanted natural elements. 69% said water. 56% said light, and 51% said paint. When we asked them to rank in themes of importance, the highest was supporting local artists. And then inspiring creativity and imagination was after that. Then incorporating Florida's beach and nautical elements was after that. So the dolphins go along with the survey results. And then showcasing Clearwater's landscapes was after that. And then when asked where they would like to see art in the park, 68% said in passive areas in the park, and 54% said at the park entrance, and then 40% said near the water features. So we did allow citizens to leave comments. Less than half left comments, mostly positive. A lot of people repeated how we need more art, how art draws people into spaces. There was a couple of comments asking for things like the butterfly wing type of murals, and then a couple of people said they did not want anything abstract. And there was a lot of please leave out political messaging comments. So I think we're pretty safe with the stuff we voted on today for that. And that's it.
Is there a way for you to send that out?
Yes.
Separately? I'd just love to have that for reference for the future as well.
Yeah. Yes. I'll send out the PDF and it has all the information on it.
I read through a lot of them. They were very specific.
I know.
A lot.
What do we need to do? Make a motion to.
Oh, nothing.
Or is this-
That was just a review.
Okay. So I guess we'll move on to, does anybody have any questions about that? Any comments? Okay.
So,
No, I will say though, because I go to Coachman Park a lot with my kids, and because all the trees are new, there's no shade right now, so maybe there could be like canopies with art on it, especially with the playground or the playground. I'm sure you already know
Yes.
because you burn up, you catch on fire standing there,
that looks like
watching your
comments.
child run away.
A couple of people did
Some more
comment.
bathrooms, some more bathrooms would be nice too.
Yeah, at least one more back. Yeah. Other than that, it's fantastic. I love it.
And a skate
I'm
park.
there like 3 days a week.
The skate park would be nice too.
Yeah.
That's my other extra room. All right.
I think we're gonna allow Beth to speak since she's here now. That's okay.
Absolutely.
Thanks. I appreciate that. Beth
Welcome.
Daniels with the Clearwater Arts Alliance. If you don't mind passing these down, one to each that way. Sorry, I'm usually here in time for the citizens' comments, and I was a little late from another meeting. But this is actually the unveiling for that signal box is this afternoon at 6:30 in the Glenwood neighborhood. So this is part of a funding project that you all funded about a little more than a year ago. We have 6 of them. already done in 2020 and 21, and then we came back in for additional funding to put specific art in neighborhoods that don't have many art amenities. And this artist actually lives in the neighborhood and was selected by her fellow neighbors who had a lot of input. So you'll see there's a whole, the artists have quite a challenge because they, of course, ask her to incorporate lots of things that they find identifying and homey about their neighborhood, including birds and various kinds of plants and trees and everything. So anyway, it's a one of a kind and it won't be anywhere else. So that was a positive thing. And we are now to where we have 3 spots left. We're working with the neighborhood at, you will be shortly, with the Country Club neighborhood. There's a box on Drew at, I think it's at Greenwood. It's either Greenwood or Cleveland, where there's a signal box that's city controlled, but it's in the midst of one of those big redos. They're replacing a bunch of them, putting much larger ones, which, just to let you guys know, has kind of affected our prices a little bit, in the sense that when we estimated, because we've done 42 and counting now at this point, not counting the couple that got ran into with various wrecks and got replaced. So we've done this drill about 45 times at this point. But the city got some DOT money. Apparently it needs more electronics inside, which then dictates a bigger cabinet, which then means whatever art and wrapping and the cost of vinyl and the cost of the special UV protectant clear layer and all is obviously more expensive, because the surfaces we're covering are getting to be almost double the size of some of the ones we did in the original deal. So, but we're working with that, and that's coming along well. So just wanted to make that report, and I'll certainly get back to you as we get neighborhoods committed to be working with artists on the next group. Mention to you all that the Clearwater Arts Alliance does have a fundraiser event coming up in November. We've just finalized all the paperwork for the art, and what we're going to feature. It's actually going to be about featuring the value of art in our schools, and we'll have some student artists competing who will all get scholarships. The 3 that are picked for their images will all get a scholarship of some level. We're going to donate $2,000, so I think it's going to be $1,600 and $400. So whichever of the 3 kids get number 1 or number 3, they're still going to get quite a nice sizable award. And whoever is voted on as the top one, we will be putting on a signal box, the next available one that isn't committed to something else. It won't be neighborhood specific, but at any rate, that'll be another nice example of getting art out there into the community, and also emphasizing the value of having arts continued in our schools. So I have a question while I'm here, and I don't know where this goes on your agenda or whatever, but I have a question about, as I drove in here today, I was at the unveiling of the sculpture that's right out here, which was done, of course, under the auspices of your committee, with public art money from the ordinance because of the development of the library we're standing in. So it was a percentage. That it seems to me that it is very bad, it's fading very badly. The colors in it and on it look to me like they're peeling or whatever. I don't know what paint was used. I don't know what protocols are there in the contract that says what the upkeep is, but it doesn't look anything like just a couple of years ago when it was installed. I mean, I was here that day and I saw the excitement about it, and I saw people taking pictures, and it was a beautiful blue sky day, and now the yellow looks extremely faded. So just a maintenance question. What goes in to that? And the last question, and I'll get out of your hair, is that there is a large city project coming up for the parking garage that is going to be on Pierce and Osceola. So it is right across the street from Old City Hall, which has now been completely demolished. It's a multi-million-dollar city project. And the contractor asked me, as a member of Peace Memorial Church, I've been going there for 44 years, when is the component of the art going to be worked on? And it doesn't make it, I'm questioning if the architect is already designing the building and the builder is already making estimates to the city, the builder's been chosen making estimates to the city about how and when it's going to be built, when is the art component going to come on? Because I know in the past there's been some issues or problems with, they're in the middle of build, your group has already picked an artist and picked a design and this and that, and somehow along the way, that communication doesn't get to the other people, and now we're using different kind of glass, and now the artist says that won't work, and I mean, we had a big experience with that at Morningside, I know. Some of you will remember that it started and stopped and started and stopped. Ultimately, the image this group had picked wasn't used at all, and they had to do something completely different. Sort of as it became an afterthought, as opposed to being incorporated within the design of the building, which I believe is what the ordinance contemplates or your rules contemplate. But I don't know that specifically, and I'm kind of here to raise that and then to ask, can somebody tell me where in the fine print about the ordering of what you do when you say, oh, here's a group of us that's going to undertake looking at the designs for whatever. I mean, it's different if you're just painting on the outside of the structure that's already there, but when you're creating a new structure from the ground up, how and when do you incorporate that? So I shall sit in. Thank you.
So in the ordinance, I believe we have a 1% for new projects up to $200,000 that is supposed to go towards a public piece of art. I don't believe it says anywhere in the ordinance when that design needs to be picked or decided on. Also, I think it's important to note that we should decide if we think a parking garage is an appropriate place to put a piece of art, or would we rather have those funds, because the funds come into the public art fund regardless, and use those funds for public art in a better used space. So that's something that you all should be aware of too, is that the new building, the 1% comes into the public art fund no matter what. It doesn't necessarily need to be used for art in that building, because some places it doesn't make sense, like the renovation of a baseball field or a parking garage. So, I don't know if that answers your question. But.
Is there a rendering available for the parking garage that's proposed?
We have some of the ugliest parking garages in town. One might think you might consider making them better.
I mean, we could clearly add a mural or paint it if we wanted to do that, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to take the entire $200,000 to do that.
Sure.
Does the 1% come out of the developer budget, or how do
If it's a city-funded project. So it's CIP funds for a city-funded project.
Cities building.
It has to be a city building, yeah. So either a remodel up to, I think it's $1 million, 10 million. There's some amount that it has to reach, or a new build has to have it.
I can't remember the name of the garage in Tampa. I think it's maybe the Poe Garage that's next to Tampa Museum of Art and the Glacier Children's Museum. It has a phenomenal mural that goes up the side of it and all the way down one side of it by the railroad tracks. It was done by 2 or 3 different artists that are pretty well known in Tampa and St. Pete for their mural work. And it's really spectacular. People take pictures of it all the time. I mean, it is a destination to go see that mural. So I think it would be really good to, maybe not the entire budget, because I don't know how much mural that size would cost, but we should be able to get some large piece of public art on that parking garage. And I think it'll be important too, as more people are coming to downtown to go to Coachman Park and the amphitheater thing, to be more visible in the community.
And the point about the art and the architecture kind of being considered at the same time is really
100%.
a great point. Because if the architecture is, specific enough, if it's artistic enough by itself, then maybe that's its own, maybe that's its own bit of art. And maybe
Right.
they don't need to add anything to it if they're thinking about that as well.
And also it doesn't become an afterthought too, like if it's in the planning period, like the fire station out on the beach, we've gone through, I think, a couple different cycles of calls and things like that. So to me, it feels like the public art piece is sort of an afterthought. It's like, oh, let's slap some public art on this thing after it's already kind of built out. And same with the police, I don't know if it's a substation or the police station on McMullen and 580. That we had a call, it kind of got lost. They did something that I don't really consider public art. And then I think we're gonna revisit a call for that
Is it?
also. But it's like an afterthought, and it should be part of the initial planning. Or my opinion is it should be part of the initial planning of the structure, especially with a budget like that.
Is it possible to ask the architect if they want to include something artistic as part of the bid? And then have the option to get some of that?
That goes beyond my scope. That's like engineering and planning and a lot more people in that conversation than just myself. And I haven't seen plans for this new parking garage yet, so.
At the very least, if we could get a rendering to see it, that would be helpful. I think what Jonathan brought up is incredibly true. I've seen it also. It looks right. And I think the location of this garage makes it so relevant, this conversation relevant, because it is in the heart of the downtown area that we're trying to make more beautiful. So I'd like to follow up on this.
I can imagine, telling the architect, if you want an extra $50,000,
Yeah.
what
I think it would be
would
nice.
that design look like if you were to make it artistic as well?
And to complicate things,
Yes.
Yeah.
there is a recorded covenant by which the city purchased the property that requires it to be by color palette and architectural style harmonious with Peace Memorial Church. Because it would not have been sold to them otherwise. And that's in the deed and in the recorded covenants. I know because I was the lawyer who stood there.
That's what I figured.
I'm just saying, but that is.
Excuse me, I appreciate it, but this is not,
Gotcha.
yeah, sorry.
Well, I'm of the mindset it should be part of the design process.
I mean, if we're talking about a mural, they're most times not a part of the design process, so then I don't think it really has to be unless you're talking about a 3D piece of sculpture, and then maybe it can be aligned with the actual design process or thought about in that way. But as far as murals go, murals paint on everything.
I know.
Right.
It'd just be nice if there's like a surface for them to paint on, because sometimes on the road it's like a lot of open space.
Yeah, and then there's some examples of different murals, and Dunedin has a mural on the side of the parking garage as well, and they figured it out, so it can work just based off of what canvas they have.
Samantha Moulet, Neighborhood Services Manager. So what we can do is we can look at what stage they are in for you all, and Amber and I can work together on that. We'll talk to planning and engineering and see where they're at. As Beth mentioned, if there are design restrictions already in place, there might be a lot of limitations on what we can design into the work of the building, and we may have to work with the church even on that if there are different things in the contract there. So we'll see, we'll check into that for you all, research where in the design phase they are. If they're already past that initial design phase, then we may be limited to a mural and after art addition, but we'll definitely look into it and see what's possible at this stage for you guys.
Yeah.
I did want to mention really quick that this is Jonathan's neighborhood.
It's my
It's
neighborhood.
adjacent,
Yeah, it is.
it's adjacent to my neighborhood.
Yeah,
And there was so much positive chatter on Nextdoor about this.
it looks really good. I mean,
There wasn't anything negative. Everybody was
Yeah.
excited.
It really does brighten up that intersection at Highland and Drew, because it's kind of a weird intersection. It's the northeast corner. It's by that house that got sold and was recently redone last year or two.
Yep.
Awesome. So, any old business items? Director's report, number 6.
Evening's over, so I'm gonna try to make it really
Okay.
quick.
Sorry.
I've asked everybody on the Public Art Design Board via email to support applications for our open call for mural artists that we have right now. This will be done online, and it will be a blind jury. We have numerous projects coming up in the city, including the 4 Coachman walls. We voted on the Tuesday, but there's 4 more that still need to be painted. We have a mural festival coming up in the downtown Gateway area to take place in February. Potentially some asphalt art that'll go down Cleveland Street, as well as replacing the birds in the municipal services parking garage that have been there for well over 20 years. So I'd like to ask the board on to score the applications, but then there's an option to leave a comment. So if you have an opinion on this one would be really great for the Coachman mural, or this one would be really great for the mural festival, leaving your comments will help me kind of figure out where you all are with certain artists. And since this board does not meet again until I think January of next year, and we really want to get these murals and Coachman kind of up and running as soon as possible, I'm just going to take the highest scores for those artists. We'll have some Clearwater Arts Alliance and other art representatives from the city scoring as well, and we'll try to implement those artists into there. But once we meet again in January, we may have the artists picked for the mural festival in February, but I'll probably have to let them know before that time, since we'll be getting kind of close to the mural festival at that point. So I just wanted to let you all know that's how I'm planning to move forward with picking those artists. We have our ARPA nonprofit cultural grant open right now. The deadline for submission is September 20th. So this can be used for museums, art projects, theaters, dance companies, any nonprofit having to deal with a medium that's considered arts or culture is encouraged to apply. This is they're one-time funds. They came from the federal government. We don't expect them to come around again. So we really want to make sure we're giving this money to the right organizations that deserve it. This is the second round of funding. So we have $428,850 left. There will most likely not be a third round. So really encourage everybody to get their submissions in by September 20th.
And this information is available on the city website?
It is. You just type in ARPA. If you go to myclearwater.com, type in ARPA, the grant should come up. So now that we've voted on the new designs and approved the Coachman Park mural walls, I'm happy to announce that we are going to have an Art in the Park Coachman event on Sunday, October 29th from 12 to 5. This will be a free event where local artists will be exhibiting their work. Residents can come out and vote for the local artists, and the winners will be given an opportunity to exhibit their work in a public building, whether that be a library or the municipal services building. We did something similar when I worked in the library. It was called the Indoor Art Walk. But now that Coachman's open, we figured this would be a great use of the space. And at the same time, the muralists will be there painting the walls live, so people can come out and actually see the mural walls come to life, which will be really cool. So hopefully we'll have good weather. It'll be a really cool event. It's going to be Sunday, October 29th, 12 to 5. We had an unveiling of a new mural wall in the gateway, which is located at the Auto Insurance Plus building at 1212 Cleveland Street. It's behind you right there. Was painted by Clearwater's own Beth Warmoth. It's very beautiful and bright and greets everybody coming into the gateway area. So I encourage everybody to drive down there and to see that. And that is it for me.
Okay. Board members to be heard?
I had a question. Hopefully you can help me with my wife bothering me about this one thing. She really likes those oranges in Dunedin. She said, I want to paint an orange on the side of the house. I was like, you can't do that. She said, why not? I said, we're in Clearwater. And so you could, but I wanted to ask the artists here, because this is out of my wheelhouse, about the idea of Clearwater having something like, it sounds kind of derivative to me, but Clearwater having something like that. A motif. Yeah, some sort of a motif or something that would be.
Like a kiwi fruit?
Kiwi?
Well, something different. It couldn't be a
What,
orange.
duck? I don't, sun, or, I don't know what. I just wanted to throw that out and see what the artists thought.
I think it would be pretty cool. It would certainly have to get approval through the code enforcement folks, because I know they can be very strict. I used to sit on that board. They can be very strict about some really strange things, or things that I felt were strange. So I'm not sure. I think it's a great idea. I mean, I love seeing the oranges and Dunedin, and I have friends that have oranges on their house, and also the chandeliers and the trees that are made of kind of trashy things.
That's one of the things that, Dunedin has. They have,
They have
things like that.
Flavor, yeah.
Creates a sense of cohesion that Clearwater doesn't.
I think Clearwater is difficult because it's so big.
Right up.
Like when you're in countryside, I always forget that that's the city of Clearwater, because I live on this area of Clearwater.
Right, so what if there was a zone, a particular zone that we could have things, have icons like that? Maybe downtown even in terms of making that more cohesive and vibrant, or other places as
I have no idea how to.
I don't know either. I think.
The whole concept started as almost like graffiti, so Stephen would paint it many years ago. He's over.
Yeah, they were just showing up at different
Right,
places.
and then people started hiring him to do it, so it would be cool to start that way, but it's kind of behind the ball on that. So, but it's a nice idea. I like it. Look.
We could start with your house. We'll see if you get popped back code enforcement. Then we feel it
I'll
out.
send them over to you.
All right, do any other board members have anything to talk about? Okay, so I guess with that, this meeting is adjourned.